All right, time to paint. So having a hard time getting into the flow before, but I think something clicked. One of the things that frustrates me about painting is overpainting when you try to make it too perfect, and then you end up you start putting paint down and isn't the way you want it, and you start trying to mix it on the canvas or the surface, and then you make a bigger mess, and then you're trying to mix the colors properly, and then you end up just making one big muddled mess. The best thing to do is remember that you don't want to try to make it too like realistic by like getting rid of brush strokes, because you just got to embrace the brush strokes, let them show. Whenever I see somebody who can draw or paint with hyper realistically, my first thought is, wow, that's impressive that they were able to do that. And within just a few seconds, my next thought is, how boring. It's no different than looking like a photograph, then what's the point? See, already it was looking good before with all the grooves and stuff, and I tried to make it better, and I didn't. But here we go. Yeah, there's noticing a little bit of red in there. And one thing that I've noticed is that there are a lot of times when I see a painting and it's got colors that aren't supposed to be there, it actually, and somehow it actually works. It's kind of cool. So I need more color. I found that like I don't use color a lot. I do mostly like pen and ink stuff, and then but having color is just like, it just stimulates your brain, and I find it enhances how creative I'm feeling. So before, this tree had more of a watercolor style because I used my acrylics like watercolor, and I probably should have left it like that, but we're gonna go with what it is, putting down some layers of paint. It's fine. Just remembering the purpose of my painting right now is not to create a masterpiece, but to just get some practice in how paint works, what it does, how it flows. When you're drawing with a pen and you're adding cross-hatching and really specific lines, you're kind of in control. With painting, you have to let that go. And that is why I think it can either be super frustrating, when you try to perfect it, and why but if you let go of trying to make it perfect and you just let it be what it is, you know, it's like you get that flow state, which is where like you merge with, you are the thing you're doing. You know, just think about it. This is an extension of myself. I have an idea of what trees look like, and making a representation of what's in my brain. So it is, in a sense, an extension of my brain. So I think let's start. Start things a little more light. Focusing on the dark. We'll just sort of add a little bit of. One thing that I really love is when, you know, you see a painting and they capture the essence of something with just a single brush stroke. There's this painting of a woman I saw, and I just thought it was so cool that you could tell that her fingers were just a single brush stroke. So but they're all different types of styles. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not, you know. Sometimes you want things to be, as a general rule, it's like I like to think of a painting as an optical illusion, where from a distance you see just the thing, but you get up close and you see the brush strokes. So it's like two things at once, you know. This one, I like gnarled trees. I like them to be twisted and love it when they're almost like a spiral like that. And you can see there, just continuous brush stroke. I like that. And let's go for not realism, but more of a psychedelic feel, let's say. So, you know, colors that aren't necessarily something you'd expect on a tree. Bob Ross, when he's instructing me on what colors to pick, he like kind of shows you just how much color to put in, and that's great if you want to make the scene realistic. But what I'm doing now is I'm just mixing them randomly. I'm also trying to get the colors on the paintbrush not mixed completely. So I'll put a dab of red, turn the brush over, get a dab of blue, and then maybe a little bit of black, so that when you put it on, you get complexity and you get, you know, multiple colors. So we'll see where it goes. I don't want to actually make it blue, but we'll cover that up and we'll leave some of the blue intact. We do want to make it mostly brown because I don't want it to. I just want hints of other colors in there. You definitely blue is something that you're more likely to see in shadows. So it's good to see, we'll make this guy brown. We'll add a little bit of purple, I think. So if you, it's a good idea if you want to do shadows when you're painting. Add a little blue to your black. And so then, you know, so let's try this. Let's give a little bit of a rough texture to the bark by doing this. Well, let's just practice seeing what that looks like. And then got the crook of the tree here. You, like what I like to do is if the base of the tree is on this side, you want to make it give it a little bit of a, do it like this. It means it's facing slightly toward you. So here you can see the underside of it. We'll add a little blue to that. Sometimes just adding like dark spots is good. So instead of trying to paint the bark outward, you paint the shadows instead, and you can get kind of a gnarled effect if you just like sort of dab darker colors on. And right now, actually, I'm noticing a little bit of a, this is interesting. See, something new is coming out. This is something very new. So at this point, I'm not trying to make it look like a tree per se. I'm giving it a weird sort of textured skin, which looks a little bit like some sort of fungus. So we'll add a little bit of, or it's got like these sort of veins sticking out. It looks a little bit like the pattern at the bottom of underwater, you know, when you see the ripples. Just notice I don't have any yellow in this. I might want to add some. Yeah, I didn't mean to get that red on there, but that's okay. And in this case, I'm not trying to make it perfect, so if I just keep on making it look different and different again, adding more and more paint, that's okay. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. All right. Really should switch up paint brushes, maybe make something smaller. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now. Add a little bit of black. Okay, interesting. Kind of gross looking in a way, but interesting. Damn, that's actually pretty cool. All right, switch it up. We'll do some sky in the background. And I like to make darker skies. So we'll do that. When you're doing a sky, you want it to be lighter at the top. Usually, if you're doing a sunset, it's the opposite. But I don't usually do sunsets. It's actually a little bit too much. Yeah, a little bit too much. It's a little too dirty. I didn't really. But that's okay, because I'm not necessarily going to do bright blue up there. I don't mind it being sort of murky. It's funny. It's really funny how I like morbid things. I love, the idea of dark and scary forests and stuff, and it's a really peculiar thing that normal, well-adjusted people can actually take joy in that sort of thing. Like, I mean, I'm not 100% well-adjusted, but I'm not like a dark person. But I am acquainted with dark things, and I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm just thinking about how it's peculiar. Like Halloween. Halloween's fun. It's fun to get scared. People watch horror movies, and it's not just mass murders and stuff. I don't know how many people do this, but a lot of people go through a phase where they get really into serial killers, and I'm definitely fascinated by serial killers. I'm fascinated by a lot of stuff, so that's not the only thing. But yeah, it's it's kind of about like trying to understand like what it is to be human by looking at the extremes and what humans are capable of. And you see something that is so far out of what a normal person would do, but they're still human. So how could they do that? When it comes to something like Halloween, or horror movies, I think it's sort of a way to make the scary things less scary by basically putting on a show where all the scary stuff gets trotted out and it says boo, and so you get practice dealing with the scary stuff. So that's when it comes to scary. So when it comes to like I'm just gonna say gothic stuff, like Edgar Allan Poe and Victorian era stuff. I don't know. I just love that sort of stuff. As for Tim Burton stuff, I definitely like some of his stuff, but I'm not like a huge fan. I did not like his Alice in Wonderland movie very much. I don't know. I can see why somebody might like it, but it just wasn't my thing for whatever reason. Don't hate it. Kind of like how I feel about Harry Potter. You know? I totally get why people like it. I don't judge people for liking it. But I do not like Harry Potter. And to be honest, it used to be that I just couldn't get into it. But after working at a bookstore where it was everywhere, I started to like I actively dislike Harry Potter because it's everywhere you look, and so I'm constantly reminded of, I don't know, it is weird that, but I just dislike the premise of the way magic is used. That's a whole other topic. That's something that I think about a lot, and especially since I am into, I guess I've taken the step into actually performing ritual magic myself. Sounds crazy, but it's true. The way ritual magic works is you actually use physical objects, substances, physical rituals, and statements as outward expressions of an inward process. So they're just psychological aids. They're not. And so I can make the case. I actually think I can make a case to somebody why ritual magic is legit, even if you don't even believe it works metaphysically. I happen to believe that it can work metaphysically, but it's a complex topic. At the same time, I hate astrology. Astrology is total bullshit. I do not believe in it at all. Now, I do believe in the concept that that certain astronomical events can have a connection to events here on Earth. The problem with astrology is their way of assigning meaning to those. There's no basis for believing that they. All right, how about this? We'll make it slightly less fungus looking, slightly less prominent holes. Okay, we'll change that a little bit. Okay. Let's see. All right, we're gonna try going for. Oh shit! Ah, God dang it! All right, let's spilled that. All right, well, good news. All that paint water didn't get on anything or ruin anything, but I am going to take that as a sign from the universe that it's time to move on. What is that a sign? Is it meant to be? Who knows? Sometimes you just play with stuff like that. You just say, okay, well, if it doesn't hurt, let's just imagine. What if? Because I do believe that God gives me signs. Not every random event that happens is a sign. But next up, the Cosmic Trickster. Wow, 25 minutes, that's long. And then I'm going to play guitar because... Guitar!